Beloved soul family and soul group, brothers and sisters of the earth, and all human beings that decide that they would like to resonate and tune into this live stream. I am specifically coming on to discuss and talk about a current trend theme. So currently what's taking place in the collective is that we have these cycles, everything within our entire experience. There are cycles, there are loops. We move through different beginning stages. We go through clearing, purifying, solidifying, and then completion stages, so that then we can create from a new level of solidification, of frequency. Everything that is within the universe is frequency and vibration. Everything that exists is just energy that has a specific thought form, and that thought form creates a feeling, and we move through cycles with this energetic representation as we grow and ascend. And what is currently very present as a collective theme and as a theme to really initiate us deeper into ourselves, to really initiate who am I and what do I know, is the theme of having what we would call rebuttal, or some level of objection or rejection or denial. So the theme that's like very present at the moment is this. It's like a level of you put yourself out there and you get met with a level of a brick wall. Now, this can happen through a business venture, like hitting a roadblock. This can happen with some level of you showing up in, maybe like it's the first time you invite someone into a relationship container and they reject you, or you put yourself out on social media in a way and you're not met with the feedback that you desire to be met with. Whatever it is, there's some level which is fitting with energetic frequency of that. As you rise, your frequency rises, and you have a bandwidth of your lowest frequency point to your highest frequency point. As you're rising into this solidification of who you are, there are new behaviors that are being expressed. There are new possibilities. And the interesting thing that's coming up as a collective theme is to recognize where you've come. Like, recognize and really know the I am and who you are. And it's an acknowledgement phase. It's a point of opportunity to stand as who you are, regardless of how you are perceived, regardless of what response comes up. It's a point of not only that in an external way of where you might be getting rejected, but where internally do you actually reject yourself, that stops and prevents you from being able to acknowledge, recognize, and solidify within yourself who you are. Because when we acknowledge ourselves, when we show up for ourselves, when we give something a try from our new energetic frequency, we have to try new things as we're shifting. The old things no longer work. That is evolution. That what happens is that you will always be met with something that's going to be aligned and resonant, and you're also going to be met with the contrast. That is polarity. That is life. That is the experience of this beautiful human expression that we have. And so as you're moving through these moments of sharing, showing up, doing something different, you're going to have the contrast. You're going to have backlash. You're going to have people, and specifically ego, that does not resonate and vibrate at where you're at. And this is an energy thing. This is my energetic frequency has risen to here. I'm showing up in this frequency, but these people down here that used to resonate with me have not actually shifted their frequency. And so they're rejecting everything that I have to say, and they're unable to meet me, or my life experience of those things, whether it's a way of doing something, whether it is a process that used to work, whether it's a thought form or a way you used to be in your friendships, whether or not it is a creative form of writing, right? It can be anything. That this process or this thing that used to work for you doesn't work anymore. So when you're up here, what's happening is you're hitting resistance because you're trying to drop below your minimum bandwidth. And so that's rejection. That's what happens. Now, if it's showing up in the form of a human being or an ego, right? As you rise, your frequency vibrates, irritates, and pisses off the ego, because the ego that is sitting here either has to go into the point of rising above to stay in that same frequency band and go, yeah, actually there's something here that's true. Oh, I can see that. Yes, I'm going to choose this with this person. We're going to rise together. Or what will happen is that there will be some kind of misalignment. Now, in the spiritual community, the word misalignment, or you're just not resonating, we're just not resonant, we're not in alignment, is the best spiritual ego narcissism. It is such a great way to bypass yourself, because the person that's sitting here and has all of this information, all of this wisdom, and they're like, oh, well, I'm just not resonating with you because of X, Y, Z, and I can see that this doesn't feel true, or da-da-da. It's a projection outwardly. There's a rejection that you are saying X, Y, and Z. You are not this. You are egotistical. You think that you know it all. You're superior. You're and the list goes on. But this individual that has chosen actually not to rise up with has to find that, because it's too uncomfortable to actually look in the mirror, which is what personal development, growth, and actual spirituality is I'm going to see myself in every mirror. So if I'm pointing the finger out at someone being egotistical, or someone is speaking out of a shadow, or if they are acting in whatever way, if this is me and I'm rejecting someone, shutting them down and wronging them, it's because I am not willing to turn the finger back inwardly and go, well, actually, why is it that this person's vibrating and grinding me? Why am I triggered by this individual? Now, I have had this very thing this morning. I was the individual that was hitting this resistance around someone who is an amazing entrepreneur. She's amazing in her ability to show up. She does light language. She is a spiritual mastermind. She's extremely wealthy and doing her path, right? And her path is amazing. We aren't on the same path. We are choosing different paths. But the trigger was there of like, oh, I just don't resonate, right? That bodily response is something for me to look at. If I'm repulsed, turned off, or there is something within my experience, that is a part of my shadow or my mind that is projecting my internal experience onto that other being. Now, it doesn't mean that when I unpack that I'm going to be in resonance with that person. It means that I'm going to unpack the limiting belief, the distortion, and the thing that's within my own experience that then gives me freedom, openness, and expansion, and more awareness to how I can create more in alignment, and also see that this person, yeah, okay, that's cool. We've got different paths. You're going this way, I'm going this way, and we can love each other from the different angles of life. But if there is a desire to block, to shut someone down, to reject someone, and there also is times that these are necessary. This is the thing about universal truth, is at times it will be necessary to block people because you've tried to meet someone in the middle way, unity. Middle way is not you're wrong, I'm wrong. It's where are we both got distortions, and how do we meet in the middle way of the aligned truth forward? And so when there is this intensity, the middle way might be acceptance that we've got different paths, different friends, different ideas of life, and that's cool. But there's no activation, there's no triggering. If there's something within your being where you're triggered, where you're feeling like something isn't resonating, oh, that doesn't resonate, it's because something inside of you is not resonating truth. That is resonance. There is simplistic, universal tools for all of this. It's absolutely scientifically understand the basics of the universe so that you can understand the basics of your reality, so that you can actually work with your reality and undo the conditioning of your mind and your light body and every aspect of your being. This is where freedom is. The freedom is in the, okay, yes, I am really uncomfortable by this person, but this is my stuff to look at. And if I look at what it is, oh, I've just created this entire narrative, and if I let go of this and I see this from truth, I can see this person in truth. And I can choose what is more free for me. It gives me more options. It gives me more opportunity. One of the beautiful ways of seeing this interpreted was shared with me recently. And it was that most people actually just shut off their mind to someone who is not resonating. They make a judgment call on someone, and what they do is they're like, oh yeah, that content isn't resonant, or that book isn't resonant, or that X, Y, and Z isn't resonant, so I'm just going to avoid it. I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to push it out of my experience, which is effectively suppressing life from your being because you've decided that it is not good enough for you, rather than, okay, let's look at why it's not resonating, or accept that this person doesn't resonate with me, but I'm also aware that they have some amazing knowledge in this area. I'm also aware that this experience would actually be really fun if I came and did it from an open heart, or this business opportunity in that specific lens from my ego's judgment doesn't resonate, but if I look at it from a level of truth, it is in resonance with my heart, and I could do it this way. The mind is going to reject anything that makes it uncomfortable, because your comfortability is your safety structures. If there are people like myself that trigger you, it's because I'm triggering an aspect of your being that doesn't want to die. And right now, there is so much death happening. And I don't mean physically. I mean the identities, the constructs, the paradigms, everything that has been created. It is collapsing. It is falling away. And that means that you are going to be absolutely uncomfortable. And it also means that you have an opportunity to go, yeah, I don't want to kick, scream, and fight and strangle myself to the death, but I'm going to actually embrace the death. So I'm going to look at all of the fuckery within myself, all of the fuckery within my mind, all of the fuckery within my external experience, and choose to let my constructs, my identities, my traumas, my core wounds, all of those things that are keeping me trapped in my own narrative over and over, where I keep rejecting life because I don't want to be in the discomfort of myself, right? This aspect and at the moment, the tipping point, I've spoken about this tipping point. We are well in the tipping point. So what happens when we look at this from a level of consciousness? The people that are choosing to evolve, they're going up, they're going up, they're going up. The people that are choosing not to evolve, this space between is becoming larger. That is in all communities, all experiences, all things. So the space, less and less you're going to have people, if you're rising, less and less you're going to have people that are going to be able to handle you and tolerate you, and you're going to be uncomfortable. But if you're choosing evolution, that's a part of your own evolution. To be okay being the trigger, to be okay being the one that is standing and, yeah, right, I see reality very different to most of these people, and I look fucking weird as to the outside world, and I definitely sound crazy, and I know this about myself, I'm claiming it, and not one of these people has any idea of what I've experienced, so they definitely can't see me. That level of shifting your frequency and standing in that and going and being okay not being seen. That's being uncomfortable. That's standing in your truth. That's looking at reality. To claim what you know, what you've come to, who are you? And to go, yeah, I also have all of this other stuff that I'm willing to look at. I'm going to claim what I know. And I'm also not going to be arrogant because I know that I have blind spots. I know what I've cultivated within myself. I know what I've come to see in consciousness. I know what I can provide. I know that there is no other facilitator out there like me. Now, I'm talking about myself at the moment in this specific experience, but there is no one out there like you. What you have in your medicine, in your knowing of your medicine, your art, your writing, your songs, your music, your frequency, your ability to create business, your financial capacity to understand crypto, whatever your gift is, no one knows it like you. There is no one on this planet, I don't care how many people do light language or how many people understand consciousness, the skill that I have developed directly from source, there's nothing else out there like it. No one is doing what I'm doing. And unless you've worked with me, and I know that I can walk someone through a step-by-step process to transcend their human identity into sovereignty, and I can claim that because I know it, because I've done it for myself and I've done it for other people. I didn't do it, Source did it through me and through them. But I know that I can claim that. There's a difference. That's not me being egotistical. That is me knowing who the fuck I am. That's me knowing exactly what I've come to, initiated myself through over and over and over, hours upon hours of understanding this reality. Now that is no different to any other craft. An artist that has spent hours upon hours crafting their art to share with the world, that is valuable. There is no other artist like you. What you share is your medicine. How can you share that from a place of confidence, of truth, of, yeah, I am amazing in my unique expression of what I have to offer the world. And I actually don't need the validation of anyone outside of me, and anyone's ego that is uncomfortable receiving me, confident in who I am, what I'm sharing, how I'm showing up in the world. That is not me, that is them. Yet I'm going to be humble and recognize that that is what the ego does. And we can love the ego when it shows up in ourselves and when it shows up in others, hold space for the ego unconditionally. Just because there is ego playing out within yourself or with another, don't shame it. Don't wrong it. The ego is designed to keep you safe. The ego is designed to allow you to understand reality. The ego gifts you the opportunity to move through light and dark. The ego is one of the most beautiful tools. It can be your best friend, and you can use your ego to transcend your ego. But it doesn't happen by not recognizing it, not making friends with it, and not seeing where it's playing out. It's a poor internet connection, so I believe that must mean that Source is telling me it's time. If you don't want to be controlled by your separation, you don't want to be controlled by your identity, you don't want to be controlled by your conditioning, you don't want to be controlled by what the ego is, which is the sum of experiences and the energetic signature of your karmic imprint. Allow it to teach you, to love you. Love it. Meet it. Hold it. Play with it. And then it can't control you. But instead it starts to step behind you and become the witness. And that ego will be the witness until the point of time that you actually don't need it for survival anymore. And what happens is it dissolves. You cannot find it because it is integrated. You are one with it. It's not that we kill it. It's that we merge with it. I love you, Ahava. God bless.